Hello and welcome to Reuters Events Pharma USA 2026. And today we have Aaron Mitchell, who's the Managing Principal of Insights and Analytics and AI at ZS. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Wonderful to be here.
Aaron, I just thought we'd just dive straight into the great AI questions of the conference that are buzzing around the conference hall today. Many pharma leaders feel that they're doing a lot of AI. They're certainly pouring a lot of money into it, yet enterprise performance, has it shifted? And if not, why not? What are the common reasons why AI investments don't seem to be moving the needle?
Well, I think you're 100% right. The amount of investment that's going into AI versus what we're seeing in terms of impact on performance, top line and bottom line, there's a huge disconnect. And the reason for that is for some of the same reasons that we've seen this type of a trend in past general purpose technologies, to include things like electricity, for example. If you think back in the early days when Thomas Edison built the first electrical power plant in the state of New York, business community thought this would be a great thing to adopt in their factories, but they actually didn't see any kind of performance gain in terms of productivity for 30 years, right? So it's quite common. Now, do I think it's gonna be 30 years for AI? Absolutely not. There's plenty of opportunity here for us to close that gap. And that's what we focus on. We focus not necessarily on the innovation, but on the diffusion of innovation. How do you actually get the innovation into your companies to drive enterprise performance and impact?
You argue that AI becomes transformative when it affects how decisions made from day to day. So what does that look like in practice, and how is it different from traditional AI pilots or use case programs?
Yeah, so to carry forward my prior analogy, most of what we've done today is we've taken out human intelligence and put in artificial intelligence, right? Either in a co-pilot or in whole. But the reality is that for us to get the full impact of AI, we actually have to change the way the decisions actually work today. Most decisions in the human world are what I would call event-based, right? We follow a linear process, we have meetings, we make decisions, we hope for the best. But in the AI world, they're much more circular, what we would call a flywheel. And the fact, the more you run the decision, the more efficient it gets, the more momentum the flywheel gets, and the better it learns. And so it's important that you remodel the decision or redesign decisions around AI, not just use the typical decision process that you have today.
All right, so walk us through a real example. What's one area where this is working and getting results?
I think a great area in the commercial realm is an omnichannel. So what we're trying to do is engage physicians and help them through their decision-making process. And what we're actually seeing is that AI is playing a bigger and bigger role in things like channel orchestration, content factory, and personalization at the physician level, almost creating what I would call a decision sphere around the physician. And what we've done is we've been re-architecting the entire omnichannel process and decision-making process around AI, and so that it can sense, it can model out potential opportunities with that position, things like digital twins, for example. It can make recommendations on the channel or on the message. It can form those recommendations into next best action, and the agents can carry that action forward into the SFA or the CRM system or the marketing marketing decisions that are being made as well. And then it learns through that entire process. And so I think that's an area where we see a lot of promise and we see a lot of momentum today.
There's a lot of promise being discussed now about agentic AI.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of worry about risk, governance, disruption. So how should leaders make this real without slowing down the businesses they need to run day to day?
Yeah, it is a challenge. Agentic AI is at its best when we move from what we would call human in the loop to human above the loop, right? We are allowing the agents to actually engage and interact with each other as a multi-agent system, but that can be very scary, right? We're actually giving up some level of control. We bring the human a bit higher in the process, and so we're relying much more on the agents. And so what you do is you take, you basically leverage some of the same kind of thinking that we have in clinical trials. We have what's called risk-based quality management. We bring that into the agentic layer in commercial, for example, where we think about what does that risk look like? How do we manage it and understand it? And make sure that there's the level of transparency in what the agents are doing so that we can audit them and understand the thinking. And when there's a problem, we can resurrect all that data to understand what might have caused those problems to exist, and also have the early warning systems in place that allow us to see those problems before they reach the market. But companies should be concerned, right? They should be very careful when it comes to these multi-agent systems, but there are ways around it. And I think that's where there's a lot of excitement in the building out of trust and transparency as a key capability.
Fantastic. Aaron Mitchell, thank you so much for joining us today from ZS. It's been a real pleasure.
It's been great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.